PER, or player efficiency rating, is one of the most widely used advanced basketball metrics. In fact, the most prestigious NBA award, the MVP trophy, is highly correlated with whoever has the highest PER ratings. I mean, from 2012 to 2022, for 11 years. With the exemption of Anthony Davis in 2015, the player with the highest PER rating was voted as the MVP. So, in a sense, you could say that the player with the highest PER rating is the best player, or at least you can't ignore them from the conversation. Well, take a look at this. This is a list of the highest PERs in NBA history. Up near the top of the list are Steph Curry's unanimous 2016 season, Michael Jordan's 1988 season, where he won the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, and was the scoring champion. LeBron's prime years are sprinkled in the mix as well. Then there was Wilt Chamberlain from 1962, the season where he averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds and scored 100 points in a single game. Then, well, above him is Nikola Jokic. That's right, the Joker has the best PER in NBA history. And as of the moment, even if he's not the GOAT, you can't deny the fact that he's at least in the conversation for the best regular season player in NBA history. Then for the cherry on top, the man just dismantled Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, then followed that up by sweeping LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and is on the verge of possibly winning a championship. Sheesh, guys. The crazy thing about all this is the fact that this dude was the 41st pick in his draft class. He was picked in the second round when he wasn't in attendance, and to add more smoke to this, he was picked in the middle of a Taco Bell commercial, for Pete's sake. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we'll go over just why Nikola Jokic was picked so late and what happened to all 40 players who were drafted before him. So y'all probably guessed, the reason why Nikola Jokic was picked in the second round was because of his physique. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and as y'all can see, he was a bit on the heavy side and his athleticism didn't look so great. This is pretty much confirmed by scouting reports from his draft, where they pretty much all highlight his lack of speed and were worried about his ability to compete with other centers. Then, when you look at his statistics before he was drafted into the NBA, it wasn't exactly eye-popping. I mean, 11 points per game and 6 rebounds while shooting 31% from 3 and 65% at the free throw line over 39 games doesn't exactly excite anyone. Honestly speaking though, although in hindsight, Jokic is the greatest steal in NBA history, at the time, most teams were probably justified in not picking him. I mean, 23 teams had the chance to pick him up before he was eventually drafted. And with that being said, let's take a look at all 40 players that were drafted before him. So the first overall pick in 2014 was Andrew Wiggins, who was picked by the Cavaliers, but then was immediately traded to the Timberwolves. He didn't quite live up to the hype, as many nicknamed him the Michael Jordan of Canada, but Two-Way Wiggs is what they call him now, as he was instrumental to the Warriors' 2022 championship run. The second overall pick was Jabari Parker. He had 1 or 2 decent years with the Bucks, but unfortunately injuries plagued him for much of his career, and the last time he played in the NBA was in 2022 with the Boston Celtics. The third overall pick was Joel Embiid, who was a 2-time scoring champion and just won the 2023 MVP award. He's a beast of a beast and is one of the best players in today's NBA. The fourth overall pick was Aaron Gordon, who's now a teammate of Jokic with the Nuggets. He didn't really stand out when he was in Orlando, except for the amazing dunks he put on during the dunk contest, where he was eventually robbed blind by Dwayne Wade, but now that he's in Denver, he's a versatile 6'10" forward who stars in his role and plays great defense. The fifth overall pick back in 2014 was Dante Exum. He was the 10th rookie in Utah Jazz history to play all 82 games and also played in the Rising Stars Challenge, but unfortunately, he suffered a left knee injury while playing for Australia in the offseason, missed his entire second year in the league, and after that slowly faded away as he accumulated more and more injuries. And Dante now plays in the EuroLeague. The sixth overall pick was Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics. He was the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year and is the first guard since Gary Payton to win the award. He's a defensive stout for the ones wearing green and is a big part of their identity as of today. But I still just hate him for injuring Steph back in 2022. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't hate him. I mean, he was partly responsible for Steph's 4th ring. The 7th overall pick was Julius Randle. He played alongside Kobe Bryant in the Lakers legend's very last game, but now plays in New York, where he's both an All-Star and an All-NBA player. Although he fails to show up for big games and big playoff moments, he's done very well for himself. Stephen A. Smith probably hates him for real, though. The 8th overall pick was Nick Stauskas. In his rookie year, he was voted as the 2nd best shooter of his class behind Doug McDermott, and he had a few decent seasons in the NBA playing for Philly. But as the years went on, he eventually got traded away from the 76ers, and from there, he slowly faded away, and in 2023, he didn't play a single minute in the NBA. The 9th overall pick was Noah Vonleh. In college, this dude was a stretch 5 sniper, shooting 48.5% from 3, but sadly, aside from his first year, that didn't quite translate over to the NBA. In 2023, he was traded from the Celtics to the Spurs, but was waived immediately. The 10th overall pick was Elfrid Payton. He made the all-rookie first team, but is more well known for vowing not to cut his hair until he won a championship. You know, one time he actually airballed a floater because he couldn't see the rim through his hair. How crazy is that? Eventually, he did cut his hair, not because he won a championship, but because it was seriously affecting his game. He last played in the NBA in the 2022 season, and in 2023, he signed with the Puerto Rican League. The 11th overall pick was Doug McDermott. He's a sniper in the league and shoots a career 41% from beyond the arc. He really reminds me of Kyle Korver, and as of today, McDermott plays with San Antonio. The 12th overall pick was Dario Saric, a stretch 4. In the last few years, he had quite a few injuries which limited his play time, but as of today, he's still signed with the OKC Thunder. The 13th overall pick was Zach LaVine. I don't think I need to talk about him too much. I mean, he's a bona fide star in the league who can do almost everything you need in a guard, and during the slam dunk contest, he and Aaron Gordon gave us historical dunks. As of today, alongside DeRozan, Zach is the face of the Bulls. The 14th overall pick was TJ Warren. The man dropped 53 points in the bubble, but honestly, he's more famous for the trash-talking incident he had with Jimmy Butler, where he eventually was swept 4-0. As of today, Warren plays with the Phoenix Suns. The 15th overall pick was Adrian Payne. He didn't play too much in the NBA due to injuries and health conditions, and eventually went to play overseas. Very sadly, Payne passed away in 2022 from a gunshot wound he suffered when he was trying to prevent a domestic dispute. The 16th overall pick was Jusuf Nurkic, a 7-foot Bosnian who actually used to play with the Joker in Denver. For the past several years, however, Nurkic has been playing in Portland alongside Dame Time and is still the starting center for the Trailblazers as of today. The 17th overall pick was James Young. He didn't particularly have a long career in the NBA, but since then, he's played a lot overseas, where in 2020, he was the top scorer in the Israeli Basketball Premier League. The 18th overall pick was Tyler Ennis. Again, just like Young, he didn't have a particularly long career in the NBA, but unfortunately, even when he went to play overseas, he was plagued with devastating injuries. It's worth noting that he was once a teammate of Andrew Wiggins when they played for Team Canada back in 2012. The 19th overall pick was Gary Harris, who was a teammate of Nikola Jokic in Denver for a number of years until he was traded for Aaron Gordon to the Orlando Magic, and as of today, he's a vet for that team, which is filled with young lottery picks. The 20th overall pick was Bruno Caboclo from Brazil. He was a role player in the league who didn't get many minutes, and as of today, he plays overseas in Germany. The 21st overall pick was Mitch McGary, who only played 2 short seasons in the NBA due to injuries and failed drug tests. As of today, McGary's a bowler. I'm not even kidding about this. The 22nd overall pick was Jordan Adams. A series of knee injuries pretty much took him out of the NBA, and since then he's just been playing overseas. The 23rd pick was Rodney Hood. He once averaged 17 points on 39% shooting from three-point range, but since his Utah days, Hood has become a journeyman, playing with 5 different teams in the last 5 years. As of today, he's still in the NBA and is a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. The 24th pick was Shabazz Napier. He had an okay but short career in the NBA, but honestly, the only thing I really remember from him was when LeBron tweeted, "My favorite player in the draft," when he was drafted to the Miami Heat. Shabazz now plays overseas in Italy. The 25th pick was Clint Capella, who was famous for being James Harden's pick-and-roll buddy back in Houston. These days, he's still doing pick-and-rolls, but in Atlanta and with Trae Young. The 26th pick was PJ Hairston, who played 3 short seasons in the NBA, then went to play in the G League, and since then has retired from the game of basketball. The 27th pick was Bogdan Bogdanovic, who was drafted in 2014, but didn't play in the NBA until 2017. During those in-between years, the 6'5" shooting guard out of Serbia has developed quite the resume overseas, which includes MVPs, championships, and in the EuroLeague, making the all-decade team. He has a pretty shot, and as of today, he's a bucket getter and a knockdown shooter with the Atlanta Hawks. The 28th overall pick was CJ Wilcox, who, in the draft combine, performed well in athletic tests and was ranked one of the top shooters. Unfortunately, his NBA career was a short one due to injuries, and he was last seen playing in the G League. The 29th overall pick was Josh Huestis, who was the first domestic draft and stash prospect. He didn't play much in the NBA, but recently he led the Jay-Z Shines to their first ever Tumbleweed Tournament championship. Honestly, I have no idea what that is because a quick Google search brings up absolutely nothing. I hope, however, that it's related to basketball and not just something weird. The 30th pick in the draft was Kyle Anderson. He goes by the nickname Slow-Mo, and you may know him from his recent altercation with Rudy Gobert. He plays with the Timberwolves today and is a star in his role. The 31st pick was Damian Inglis. I've never heard of him, and I don't care. I'm just kidding. That's a little bit mean, but let's see. He played 20 games with Milwaukee and averaged 7.8 minutes, and since then he has played with numerous teams around the world and was part of the recent Euro Cup championship team. The 32nd pick was KJ McDaniels. He played with the 76ers, Rockets, and Nets, but since then he's bounced around overseas. Joe Harris was the 33rd overall pick, and I think we all know who this man is. He's an absolute sniper from beyond the arc, and for his career, which spans 9 seasons, he shoots a career 43.7% from beyond the arc. I wonder if he's maybe a blood relative to Klay Thompson. I mean, how else do you explain that 43.7%? Anyway, as of today, Harris plays for the Nets. The 34th pick has a weird name. Cleanthony Early. Cleanthony Early. Cleanthony Early. He's no longer in the NBA, but the latest team he played for in 2022 also has a weird name. The Taiwan Beer Hero Bears. The Taiwan Beer Hero Bears. Cleanthony Early of the Taiwan Beer Hero Bears. Sheesh, guys. Try saying that one 3 times fast. Anyway, the 35th overall pick was Jarnell Stokes, who now plays in China. The 36th overall pick was Johnny O'Brien III, who also now plays in China. The 37th overall pick was DeAndre Daniels, who never played a single minute in the NBA and now plays in New Zealand. The 38th overall pick was Spencer Dinwiddie, who made a name for himself in Brooklyn, then went to play with Luka in Dallas, and has since then been traded back to Brooklyn. The 39th overall pick was Jeremy Grant, whose career started out slow, but since then, he's been putting up borderline all-star numbers with both Detroit and Portland. The 40th overall pick was Glenn Robinson III, who was a journeyman around the league and had his best season with the Warriors in 2020, where he averaged double figures in scoring while shooting with respectable efficiency. The last time he played professional basketball was with the Kings back in 2021. I don't think any beams were lit that year. The 41st overall pick was, you know it, a 2-time MVP, the most skilled center to ever play the game, the man who just ran through Kevin Durant and then swept LeBron James. You know, when LeBron was winning MVPs early in his Cleveland days, this is what Nikola Jokic looked like. Imagine telling a prime LeBron James that he'd one day be swept by this kid. Anyway, the Joker is currently just 28 years old and is the biggest steal in the 75 years or so of NBA history. And with his play style, he's going to be a problem for the rest of the NBA for a very, very long time.